today. Now we're about to have a healthy conversation, and this is very critical. Of course, in studio I have Peter Prikatso, who's the MD MTBA. So welcome to the show. MTBA, you guys, you're giving me the M-Pesa vibe. Yeah, MTBA is homegrown, and that's something that you guys are very passionate about. For starters, tell us what MTBA is all about.
Great. Yeah, first of all, you're right. Actually, MTBA is a lot like M-Pesa. That's because we're Kenyan homegrown, but with international support. Mm-hmm. In fact, what we are is a digital platform which connects hospitals, insurance companies, and customers or individuals who need healthcare. Mm-hmm. And our digital platform is actually making sure that health insurance is easy and affordable.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, because in this country over the past 10 years, during the former president's reign, universal health coverage was part of the Big Four agenda. Mm-hmm. And even now we have a new government, the bottom-up economic approach to things. Healthcare is also a critical agenda. In terms of utilizing technology to bring solutions and to make this dream of universal healthcare a reality in Kenya, how are you guys making that connection?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and we fully support the overall move towards universal health coverage, because that's very much aligned with the MTBA's mission, mm-hmm. making sure that quality healthcare becomes accessible to many more of us. And technology we see as a key component in achieving that, because I think if you really want to achieve that goal, you need to make sure that health insurance or healthcare expenditure is administered effectively and efficiently. Mm-hmm. And technology can be really the key driver to that, in terms of automation of healthcare payments, automation of claims, mm-hmm. And most of all also making sure that the beneficiaries or the people who enjoy the benefit of health insurance and UHC are actually knowing what they are entitled to and how they can access it very easily via their mobile phone.
Okay. So, the openness now, as you look at the Kenyan market, since you are in the business, you're able to observe, generally speaking, are we very open and receptive to these ideas? And what does it take to sort of fast track, to lessen the paperwork and to see more automation?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I think, generally, us as Kenyans, we are very open to technology. Our key example, of course, is M-Pesa. If you look at how M-Pesa has driven financial inclusion and how easily we all have adapted to the concept of mobile money and sending money via our mobile phones. So I think, we are definitely ready as a society to make further strides in digitizing, and a lot of good steps are underway. So we try to play our part in that and making sure that together with our partners and customers, we're really, further reducing the paper, making sure that, digital access becomes easier. So.
Okay. That's incredible, man. So I'm thinking now, because we're talking insurance and we're talking the cost of healthcare in the country. And you're telling me that insurance is actually a tool that we can utilize to lower the cost of healthcare for majority of Kenyans? Is that so?
That's correct, yeah.
How?
Because I think what we want to make sure is that everyone is resilient. That's what we actually want. So, what we all should strive for is to make sure that we can access healthcare whenever we need it. And sometimes, bad luck happens and you fall sick. Maybe at the wrong time of the month where you're not able to pay the hospital bill. So what we try to achieve and what we all collectively need to do is to make sure that we have an insurance concept where we all contribute a little bit and make sure that whenever we need it, we can actually get our healthcare bills paid for.
Okay.
So that's the general concept behind insurance. And insurance in general is sometimes an intangible concept, and we believe that technology can really make sure that is much more transparent to everyone, and that also paying for it becomes easier.
Okay, and you guys are operating in a space you call micro-insurance.
Yeah.
There is that micro element. And sometimes when you suggest to somebody, just pay 10 shillings a day, and we've got you covered. I mean, the skeptical nature of majority of we Kenyans, they're like, are you for real? Is this making real sense? In regards to that aspect of microinsurance, how active is it, first of all, in the country? And so far, with the partnerships that MTIBA has entered into with some of the key insurance players in the field of microinsurance, how's been the reception?
Yeah, I think maybe to tackle some of the points you're making. So I think microinsurance in general is something indeed which can hopefully drive the penetration of insurance, because if you make premiums more affordable and more bite-sized to pay for, so it can be 10 shillings a day, but it can also be a payment per month, you know, it becomes hopefully in much more reach of everyone. And then the other point you touch upon is like, how can I trust that it's really going to sort me out? Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, what we're really trying to make sure that that our technology can support with. So if you buy a microinsurance product, which is, you know, administered on MTIBA, mm-hmm. through your mobile phone, you have continuous insight in what is available, which hospital can you go to, you know, what is the utilization. So it's not only for members of the insurance product, but also for those who pay for it. Mm. So that can be employers, it can be insurance companies. You know, the level of insight that we get through that leads to a lot more transparency. Ah. So indeed, as you say, you know, together with our insurance partners, the likes of AAR, the likes of Jubilee and any others, we try to make sure that such products become much more available into the market.
Okay. So in that regard, because you've operated in that space, you've had partnerships maybe for a couple of years. Talk to me so far, how's the reach of the specific products that you're involved with in Kenya, and are we seeing that wall that you're trying to break in regards to penetration coming down?
Yes. I think the answer to that is yes. So first of all, we have hundreds of thousands of customers in Kenya who actually have a micro-insurance product or general insurance product, which is basic health insurance product, which is administered on MTIBA. So in that sense, we see good uptake. And we're trying to also make sure that insurance becomes even easier. So just small kind of policies which you, for instance, buy embedded into a Matatu ticket. So whenever you buy, you pay your fare for a Matatu ticket, that there's a small health cover insurance in there. So we've tried some of these kind of products and have seen hundreds of thousands of such covers being sold this year. So I would say we make good strides, but you know, we're 55 million Kenyans right now, so growing every day. So there's still also a long way to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does it take to grow faster? Because you're talking about we are quite a huge number, and even if you are able to just get 20-30% of the population, that is already huge enough. And I'm thinking about pooled resources, because insurance right now, even one of the areas that we are seeing the government exploring is in terms of the consortium of insurance players coming together, and also pension players, and finding ways to invest. So it has sort of a ripple effect in the economy. Talk to me how you're fast tracking that.
Yeah, I think to me, I see sort of two main areas which are barriers to uptake of micro-insurance products. I think number one is affordability. So can I pay for it? How do I pay for it? Do I need to pay the premium in one go at the beginning of the year? Or can I pay in small bite-sized chunks, so daily, monthly, or whenever I feel that I'm exposed to the risk?
Yes.
So I think in that way we contribute as MTIBA by working together with our insurance partners to make intuitive products, and to also make sure that the payment of the premiums becomes very easy.
Okay.
The second aspect, I think, is trust. You mentioned it already at the beginning of this interview. You know, like, how do I trust that if I pay 10 bob a day, I'm actually sorted out when I actually need the healthcare cost? So this is also what technology can bring. Because if you think about it, you know, previously you would have very limited insight in how much insurance balance you still have available. But with MTIBA, you can access that real time on your phone. So you can at any point in time see how much do I still have left, where can I go to, and how can I pay for it. So together, those two aspects, I think, can really make a big difference in it.
Definitely. And at the core of your business is data. And data is king with it all right now. If you have data, you are able to utilize that data for the betterment of whichever constituent you are serving. So in regards to Mtiba and the data that you've collected in all your interventions on matters health, how are you repurposing this data for the betterment of Kenyans and pushing the whole aspect of making healthcare affordable?
Yes, I think in maybe a couple of ways. So first of all, data is a very, powerful but also sensitive subject. So, we treat data confidentiality with the utmost priority. So ultimately, the data is owned by the beneficiaries or the constituents, as you said. But the data can be used to automate some of the processes. So for instance, when you're talking about like administration of healthcare, including the payments, the data of the healthcare behavior can be used to automate some of those decisions. So for instance, whether an insurance claim is payable or not, you can actually use the underlying data and artificial intelligence to make sure that those decisions are made quicker, such that hospitals are being paid faster. So that's one aspect. But the second aspect is also through the data and the detailed data that is collected on the Mtiba platform, insurance companies have much better insight in what aspects of their products are being used and what not. Sometimes we might think from our offices that this is what people use or this is what people need. But the data will tell you exactly what is being used and what is being needed. So I think that's another way in which we are using data to make sure that the products actually really solve what people need and that it is also really what our customers want.
That's quite incredible. How you can collect and repurpose it, analyze it, and sort of just give different outcome to it and different projection in regards to bettering that constituent, as we had called it. And another aspect, because I was looking at Mtiba and part of your interventions, and something really stood out for me, this issue of cash advance, especially in the healthcare sector.
Yes.
It's, right now we're talking about Hustler Fund and Kenyans being able to borrow and getting accessible credit for, MSMEs. But specifically yours is targeted for the healthcare players in the private sector and those who are small. So far, this tool, how effective is it on the ground?
I would say it's very effective. So actually, the cash advance product, maybe to explain in one sentence what it is that hospitals and clinics and doctors and labs and pharmacies can actually access working capital funding through the Mtiba platform. So we work together with an institution called the Medical Credit Fund, who provides the lending of those amounts, and clinics can actually access through their mobile phone directly funds to buy medicines from, to pay salaries from, and then they automatically repay those funds through the incoming payments on the M-Pesa till. So essentially our Mtiba platform makes sure that that is happening automatically, which means that the access to such credit is becoming much more easy than it ever has been.
Okay. How much of a gap is there in regards to funding this niche healthcare and small, maybe medium-sized players in the market? How niche is it?
We think it's actually, it's niche in the sense that that segment is currently underserved. So most of those clinics or doctors or hospitals, and that can also range still to very sizable hospitals with 50 beds. They struggle to get good financing from traditional sources like banks. Because I always take the example of like, no bank wants to be seen that they close a hospital and throw patients on the street whenever the hospital doesn't repay. So it's very difficult for those kind of players to access quality and affordable funding. So we see that actually on a monthly basis we have about 150 hospitals who take loans with us, an overall portfolio of about 700 such institutions who have active loans. So we see huge demand for it, and everyone who uses the product is very satisfied. So,
Peter, of course, the big question is the cost of credit, because the lower we go to the best, as it's called, and that's where our economy is the foundation of it, the riskier it is perceived by financiers.
Yes.
So when you are targeting this intervention, targeting these small-scale players and medium-sized players, at what cost are you giving this money at?
Yeah, so it depends on the ongoing interest rates. As you know, they are very subject to change. But one thing I can assure you that they're very cost competitive because for two reasons. So I think one, the data that we collect really makes sure that we can furnish the medical credit fund with really good insights in terms of what the repayment rates are, etc. So the rates are exactly as they should be. So there's not being paid more than what is needed. Also, like the incoming payments on the M-Pesa till are automatically split into repayments. So it means that there's much less default on the open standing loans. So it means that the interest rate can be competitive.
Okay.
And lastly, I think the funding parties behind medical credit fund are like the global institutions, the DFIs, the World Bank, etc. So their purpose is having impact. So it's not about making money per se. It's making sure that it's a sustainable business model.
Okay.
So all in all, it's a very affordable rate. Yeah.
Definitely. And Peter, as we close this up, I'm looking at the future, yeah, because you are the leader of this organization. You're the visionary. I don't know, where is MTBA going? Because in the same breath with M-Pesa, it's one of those, we're like, hey, M-Pesa, when I go somewhere else, we have to mention it. And this seems like an intervention that holds so much potential for this country. So what does the future hold for MTBA?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we like to mirror ourselves on how M-Pesa has led to financial inclusion in Kenya. We want to make sure that MTBA brings healthcare inclusion. And we do that through multiple ways, as we've touched upon in this interview. But I believe that we aim for making sure that almost every life in Kenya is being touched through MTBA as well when it comes to healthcare expenditure. So in the near future, we want to make sure that we reach at least another 1 million customers. And in 5 years' time, we want to make sure that at least 10 million customers have access through MTBA to the healthcare benefits in one way or the other.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes. Peter Prikats is the Managing Director, MTBA, and he says that technology is the way to go. That is for the beginning. And secondly, these interventions are very targeted and they are needed. They say that's the way to go. I mean, tech, in health, tech, in business, tech, all this tech. And I'm glad that such companies are able to create solutions for Kenyans, majority of Kenyans. Well, so we put a full stop to our discussion and our show today. We've started the week quite cold. I don't know, it's been raining across the country. So I wish you a very warm week. So maybe you can take to jogging or something like that. But have yourself a good afternoon. I'm Noki Kimboy. And up next we have Mbu KTN. Stay tuned at KTN News.